and I'm founder and owner of BS3 Radio. I've been podcasting for 5 years, and with BS3 Radio, it has grown to over 46,000 listens and downloads. I've helped hundreds of people to start a podcast by giving them the knowledge, tools, and confidence to be successful. Now I'm here to help you do the same with BS3 coaching. So let's build a successful podcast. I will be your podcast coach. We'll be able to work one-on-one. I won't be giving you a booklet and just telling you to look over it, but we'll be working one-on-one, side by side, to either help build up a successful podcast or to take your podcast to the next level. So click the link above or below to check out the pricing. I look forward to working with you, and God bless. Welcome to Reaction Monday. Thank you everyone for tuning in. We got a special time tonight, and we'll be starting at this time from here on. So 9 p.m. Central, 10 Eastern, 7 Pacific time. So thank you everyone for tuning in. As you can see, we got the Creating Young Minds background here. We'll be recapping week 6 of the Undiscovered League. If you're not familiar with Creating Young Minds, you can see the link below so that you can go and check out the games. They're every Sunday from 12 to 4 Central Time. And Creating Young Minds is a basketball program that is helping to change young men's lives and learn valuable lessons. So it's using basketball to help change these young guys' lives and helping to build them up. So we'll be talking about that. Also, we'll be talking about NFL Week 13, and we had Spence versus Garcia this weekend as well. So we got some great things to get into. Thank you for tuning in. If you're watching on YouTube, thank you. Make sure to subscribe, click that bell so you can be on top of all the content. If you're on Facebook, give us a thumbs up. You can drop some comments. We appreciate any comments or anything that you have. And if you're on Twitter, appreciate you if you're on Twitter as well. Thank each and every one of you guys for your support, week in and week out. So we got some highlights tonight from the Undiscovered League, Creating Young Minds. So we got some highlights we're going to be playing as well throughout this segment. So make sure to share the show. And you can check out the games, as you can see the link below, creatingyoungminds.uscreen.io. So the first game up, there was some blowouts, there were some good games. The first game up was the Undiscovered team versus EA Hoops. Now, before I go any further, EA Hoops is a very young team. They're extremely young. I calculated the average age, and the average age is 19 years old. It's a very young team. Let me back up. Undiscovered League is played in Lewisville, Texas, at the Mac Attack in Lewisville, but they'll be having games each week. Go to the website. You'll be able to find out. Or just follow BS3 Radio on social media. I'm going to share it out, so you'll be able to have it. Shout out to Taylor Dean, CSA. Thank you for coming through. Appreciate you for dropping in a comment as well. Let me know where you're listening from. Wherever you're listening, leave us a comment. But EA Hoops versus Undiscovered. EA, like I said, the average age is 19 years old. The average age of Undiscovered is 21. And they went back and forth a little bit, but I do have to say Undiscovered blew out them boys, 84-37. And Jared Henderson, not only did he have one monster dunk, but he had two. He dropped 32 points. He dropped 16 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 steals, and 2 blocks. He was all over the floor. A pro scout has referred to him as a Kenneth Fahid type player, if you know who Kenneth Fahid is. But he was the energy guy. He was all over the floor. Shout out to Jansen Harris. Thank you for coming through. He's in Georgia. Thank you for coming through. Taylor Dean, he's in Dallas. I definitely know him. That you're in a big D. And then Damien Durham, again, lighting it up. Last week, he dropped 50. I'm telling you, these games are very entertaining to watch. It is great basketball. These guys are hustling. These guys are on the floor. They're trying to win the games. Damien Durham, like I said, dropped 50 last week. He dropped 32 this week. And if you don't know who he is the Cal State Bakerfield WAC record holder for three-pointers. He had 32, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks. He was all over the floor. And then Lewis Patterson was another top scorer for Undiscovered, 18 points, 2 rebounds. Shout out to my man Neil, Story to Tell. Make sure to check out his YouTube channel. Does a great job. And when I say he does a great job, if you remember the Clumps and you remember Eddie Murphy, he has a video on there that's at that type of range. So he does a very, very good job, and it's hilarious. So make sure to check it out. Neil Story to Tell, as you can see with his name. Top scorer for EA Hoops was Keith Smith. He's 18 years old. He's a prep school kid, but he can ball. He's out here playing with grown men. If you want to see where your game is, this is the league that you should be in. And this kid's 18 years old. He dropped 18 points against grown men. So as I was watching the game, I had a couple of notes that I wrote down. And in this league right now, there is no team running with Undiscovered. There's no team. Also, I jotted down, which we'll talk about the veterans. The veterans is another great team. I want to see those two play. If they have played yet, or if they're going to play, I have to see those two play because those are the top 2 teams. But Damien Durham was on fire again, lighting it up. And when you try to run with this Undiscovered team, it's virtually impossible. And a lot of things are possible, but it's impossible if you try to run with this team because they're so good. They're so good at every facet of the game, and they didn't take their foot off the gas. So, like I said, 84-36. So let's get into some highlights from this game. We'll get into some highlights here in just a moment. So first one up, we got Jared Henderson going to the hole for a dunk. Yacked on him. He had 2 dunks like that. The other highlight I want to get to is Damien Durham. Like I said, he dropped 32, dropped 50 last week. This guy's on fire. There's really nobody stopping him in this league. Hey, right there. Hey. Oh, yeah, that's it too. Another one. I know it. From the three-point line, not even at the three-point line, but beyond the three-point line. That just shows you the type of skill that he has. And then we got Lewis Patterson. I mentioned him. He had 18 points. Check out this highlight from him as well. Dunk. Hey. Nice dunk, straight to the lane. Doesn't get any better than that. If you play men, you will play like a man, says Neil Story to Tell. Yeah, man, if you're playing the top competition, that helps your game, and that helps you improve more. We also will have DeAnthony Thompson coming on in about 20 minutes. I'll see you there and waiting in the wings. But just a great slate of games, man. A great slate of games. I enjoyed watching them, and I highly recommend you come check it out. So Creating Young Minds Undiscovered League. Check the link below. You can watch it. Or if you're in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, you can come and see the games for yourself. And it's top talent. Know about. And that's why it's called Undiscovered, because a lot of these guys don't have the current opportunity right now, but they're trying to create an opportunity. They're trying to do something. So the next game up was Louisville Black versus EA Hoops. EA Hoops had a back-to-back game. I got respect for these kids. You know, it's very easy to not play top competition, or if you lose, you don't play. But these kids continue to show up, and I got nothing but respect for them. EA Hoops, they're a very young team, but they play, they hustle, they work hard. They're trying to win as many games as they can, and obviously it's It's not easy. Like, it's not easy when you're going up against grown men and you're going up against guys that have experience, but they're doing their thing. They're doing their thing. I got all but love and respect for these young guys because they're out there doing what they can to try to get the dub. So they had another game, Louisville Black. They win 48-38. Nasser Rabahi, a.k.a. they call him Biggie. He's the only 7-footer in this league. He's got a 7'8" wingspan. He only had 4 points, but he was physical on the block. He had 12 rebounds, 2 blocks. He looked like he was hungry. He looked hungry, and he was ready this game. Also, shout out to Marcus Brooks. Marcus Brooks is one of those sweet lefties. You know, one of those guys that kind of like a Jalen Rose, one of those guys with that sweet lefty shot, kind of like a Tayshaun Prince. He had 23 points, and then Jesse Williams had 16. He had 30 last week. And, you know, one thing I was jotting down is EA, they just frankly, they just had to pick it up. You got to pick it up, especially when you're playing, again, top competition. You got to pick it up. You cannot play like the way they were and win. Now, they did try to come back, so they had a late comeback, but at the end of the day, it just was not enough. Marcus Brooks had some highlights. It was 26-10 at the half. So EA was trying to kick it up into next gear. Keith Smith, again, I got to give props to him. He played well. Christian Mirage had 14. And the comeback, it just wasn't enough. You know, Louisville Black survived 48-38. They did everything they can. That is EA Hoops did everything they can. But it just was not enough. So let's get into some highlights from that game as well. Check out this first highlight. This is Marcus Brooks, the sweet lefty, like I just mentioned. Hey! Yak 'em. That was a dunk right there by Marcus Brooks. Also, check out this dunk by Biggie. Like I said, the only 7-footer in the league. He should be playing at the next level, and I think he will be playing at the next level very soon. No better thing to watch than a big man throwing it down. And he threw it down. That was a couple of highlights from that game, Louisville Black. Like I said, 148-38. And then I think the game of the day was the veterans versus the prospects. Prospects have some big names on their team. Abraham Davalos, he had 30 last week. He had 25 this week. Darius Tavern had a double-double, 10-10, and then Christian Brooks, who had 14-7. But the man of the day, the man it seems every single week, is my man Moses Sundufu. He's a former NBA G League player. He had 17 points, 8 rebounds, 7 assists. He is the assist king in this league. He is the assist king. If you need an assist, if you need something done, if you need somebody to get the ball to somebody that's open, this guy is it. This guy is it. And he not only has he done it the past 2 games I've seen, but I'm sure he's been doing it this entire league. So at 17, 8, and 7, Matthew Smith at 23 and 3. And then I'm gonna get to the highlights in a minute. Shout out to Overton Claiborne. Thank you for coming through. Make sure to check out Creating Young Minds Undiscovered League. There's a link down there. It's scrolling by. You can check it out. Andy Platts. This kid was raining threes like Steph Curry. 26 points. He had 8 threes in this game. Out of all the highlights I have 2 of them of him hitting a 3. But he was money. I mean, this was all day long. He was hitting monster shots. So as watching this game, let me give a shout out to another guy on the prospects, Rick Curry, who is smooth down in the post. This guy's post game is money. Post game is on point. And the prospects is almost like they couldn't get a rebound in the first quarter. And when you're playing basketball, obviously, what's important to get? Rebounds. And when you can't get rebounds, that means you're not able to either get the ball in transition or capitalize on the rebounds. DeBalos, the sharpshooter at 25. I mean, this guy's shot is pretty money. But the vets end up winning the game. And what I wrote at the end was I want to see the vets versus Undiscovered. Those are the two top teams in this league. If I have not seen it yet, hopefully that'll be coming up next week. But you can tune in every Sunday from 12 to 4 Central Time, or come check it out live. So let's get into some more highlights here. This first one is my man Moses Sundufu with a corner three. I love that swish of the net. Next one up, we got Kyle Nelson with a nice pass to the hole. That pass was some Andy Platts. Andy Platts, like I said, was raining threes all day long. This is a highlight from Andy Platts. No. You can hear the people saying, no, not from there. Yeah, he hit the shot from there too. And then here's Austin Riddick with a nice dunk. No. Trying to do too much with the ball. It's nothing better than a dunk like that. Nothing better than a dunk like that. Straight to the hole. Appreciate that, Overton Claiborne. He says, I love this network of shows. Thank you so much, man. He's doing a great job as well. Talking with OC is the name of his podcast. He does a really good job. But this was week 6 of the Undiscovered League. And these guys are playing. They're playing ball. And like I said, I'm going to also give respect to EA Hoops. They continue to do their thing. They haven't been able to get a win, but the experience that they're getting, to me, is definitely worth it. The experience that they're getting throughout this league is definitely worth it. And it's only going to get, I think it's only going to get better for them. You know, as you continue to practice, as you continue to put in work, you know, it's only going to get better. As you continue to practice, as you continue to work hard, you know, it's only going to get better for you. So the top player of the day, you know, I'll do this every week. The top player of the day, I have to go again. I got to go again with Damien Durham. He dropped 32, had the most points of Sunday. In a close second, I got to go with Marcus Brooks and Andy Platts putting up 26. Man, he was just raining 3 after 3 after 3. So really great to see. Do these players get to go to the G League? So there is opportunities for them to go to the G League. Now, I don't know if all of them will, but I do know there are connections, and some of them will be going to the G League. But they're playing some great basketball, and they're doing what they can to make sure that they give themselves an opportunity. So there's quite a few teams, the prospects, I talked about them, the veterans, EA Hoops, Louisville Black. Also, there's Louisville White, Undiscovered, and EA Hoops. And they're continuing the show, and they're continuing to put in work. So we have 3 games. Week 7 will be next week. I'm looking forward to that. And yeah, looking forward to seeing what more to come. So a little bit of background on Creating Young Minds, which you can go to the website, creatingyoungminds.org, or you can Google it. But it was founded by Sierra Ackerman, Mathis Crowder, and Charlie Brown in 2011. And the Creating Young Minds Academy is using basketball to help young men live and learn valuable lessons. Appreciate that. Appreciate that, Creating Young Mind. He said the Undiscovered team beat the veterans in the first game of the season, 86-70. Thank you so much for that, CYMTV. And also, they need to have a rematch. They have to have a rematch because both of those teams are playing great. Who runs the league? So the league is ran by Creating Young Minds. Creating Young Minds, like I said, the website, creatingyoungminds.org. You can check out the website. They do a wonderful job. And they're not only, this is not only about basketball, but they're trying to build up young men, trying to get them to the next level. And as you can see the link below, you can check out the games right there at that link, but it's creatingyoungminds.org is a direct website. Also, the Louisville Leopards, which is the team based out of the Dallas-Fort Worth area, they also play in a basketball league, which is the third best basketball league in the nation. It's called the Basketball League. So they're involved with that league as well, and they're doing a great job. Shout out to Mathis Crowder, doing a great job, and this organization as a whole is doing a great job. So a little bit more on the organization. The vision is the young men living in our communities will gain a broader appreciation for themselves, for self and others, education and athletics through basketball, school, support, and guidance. And then the mission is they focus on teaching young men about the importance of education, hard work, being humble in all aspects of life. I interviewed one of the gentlemen, Michael Lenore, a 2020 NBA draft prospect. Very well-spoken, very determined, very focused, and each and every one of these men have that vision and have that focus. So I am glad to be covering the Undiscovered League. I'll be covering them throughout this Undiscovered League and also looking to cover them going forward. But I'm very excited about it. And they continue to put out quality basketball, hustling up and down the court. So you can check it out. You were able to see some of the highlights. They played some great basketball. So let's move along to some other news from the weekend. A big shout out today. Let's talk about today. The Washington Redskins somehow, some way beat the Pittsburgh Steelers. I don't know how it happened. I did not watch the game. I was not expecting it to go that way, but they somehow, some way beat the Pittsburgh Steelers. Shout out to Alex Smith with a big day, with a huge day. Like you got to play perfect to beat the Steelers. But also I think this means too that the Steelers are not the greatest team, even though they were undefeated. They lose 23-17. Alex Smith had 296 yards on the touchdown. Peyton Barber had a touchdown running. Logan Thomas, 98 yards. Cam Sims had a one-handed catch. Like it was not supposed to go this way. And over on my show over the weekend, I was clowning a Washington football fan. Excuse me if I said the R word, but I was clowning a Washington football fan, basically telling them like, what are you talking about? There's no way they're going to beat the Steelers. And guess what? Guess what they did? They beat the Steelers today. So I got to put my foot in my mouth. Big Ben had 305 and 2 touchdowns. I think a major issue here was they didn't have James Conner. The running game suffered. And Claypool had two catches, 38 yards. Juju had 7 catches for 28 yards. That's 4 yards per catch. That's not like Juju. That's not like this team at all. But you got to give it up to the Washington football team defense. You got to give it up to that defense, what they were able to do, this week, today, specifically. The game we have on right now, the Bills are up 27-10. I'm not surprised here. I was not expecting the 49ers to win this game. But one thing I do have to say is I hope Mozart will make some noise because I got him in fantasy, so I need him to do something. Okay, I need you to give me at least 20 to 30 points. So whatever you got to do, Mozart, to make sure you make that happen. And I need this Bills defense to do something too, because I have the Bills defense as well. And I'm dependent on you guys, okay? I'm dependent on you guys to do something for me. So we'll see what happens there. I'll keep you guys posted on this game. Also, two teams have clinched already. Like, imagine that already. I mean, it's week 13, but two teams have already clinched. Number one, the Saints, and number two, the Kansas City Chiefs. Those are the two teams that have clinched. Shout out to both of those teams. The Chiefs got away with one, and the Saints just continue to win. This is without Drew Brees. They decided not to start Jameis Winston, but they have Taysom Hill, who is quote unquote the gadget guy, but he seems to be doing his thing. He is seeming to be doing his thing. CYM TV says the Redskins typically blow leads in the fourth and are not able to come back from being down 14. Tonight, we changed that. We at least get to celebrate tonight. We did win 2 games in a row. Hey, y'all definitely get to celebrate. Y'all 100% can celebrate this win because I did not pick you guys at all. I basically clowned the guy that was talking about the Washington football team was going to win. And he doesn't deserve that. He doesn't deserve to get clowned, but I decided to do it, and look what happened to me. Look what happened to me. Egg on my face. I'm the one that decided to talk trash, and it didn't work out. But it happens. It happens sometimes, especially when you're a football fan or when you talk sports. Sometimes your foot is going to end up being in your mouth, and you honestly can't do anything about it. You just got to suck it up and just be quiet. That's all you can do in a situation like this. But a big win by the Washington football team, and they are now tied for first place in the NFC least. Yeah, I call them the NFC least because neither one of those teams are trying to get that number one spot. It's almost like at some point in the season they were fighting against getting the number one spot. But I got to give props where props are due. The New York Giants get a big win over Seattle. They're 5-7. And the Washington football team's 5-7. The lowly Eagles are 3-8-1, and the Cowboys are 3-8. They've got a game tomorrow, and guess who's playing? Guess who's back? Lamar Jackson's coming back. So this will not be a good day. Any Cowboys fans that are out there, newsflash, this will not be a good day. And we will get blown out. That's why I'm putting it. Now, if I'm wrong, that's great. But I highly doubt that I'm going to be wrong in this situation. I highly doubt that I'm going to be wrong because I don't see any possible way that the Cowboys can come through and get a win here. It's going to be very, very difficult to do. But if the Cowboys surprise me, I'll be elated. I'll be elated. Right now, currently in this game right now, the 49ers just scored, but Josh Allen's putting up monster numbers, 304, 3 touchdowns. Cole Beasley, the former Cowboy, 119 yards and a touchdown. But other games from the week, the Saints beat the Falcons 21-16. Taysom Hill throws his first career touchdown pass. This guy has not thrown a touchdown pass yet, but he threw one this past weekend. And the Falcons had to try to come back. It didn't work out. The Saints are now 10-2. And they're doing this. I mean, you gotta give props to Sean Payton. You have to give props to Sean Payton. Just because what he's doing right now is not normal. He's not doing it with his number one quarterback, and he's doing it with a gadget guy. But that goes to, I think, the greatness of Sean Payton, but also this defense. This defense has really been making a lot of noise. And normally when you talk about the Saints defense, they're not really that great, but they've been playing well. They've been playing well all year long. Cameron Jordan, they end up getting to Matt Ryan 3 times, and that's going to be a problem for you. And when Alvin Kamara has 88 yards and Michael Thomas has 105 yards, that's going to be a good day. That's going to be a good day. So you gotta give your props where props are due to the New Orleans Saints. You have to. If you don't want to. The other game, the Lions beating the Bears. They're both 5-7, so neither one of these teams I got a lot of respect for. But Matthew Stafford puts up monster numbers, especially if you play him in fantasy. 402 yards, 3 touchdowns. Matthew Stafford. Marvin Jones had a big day, 166 and a touchdown. And even on this day, DeAndre Swift did not play, but that guy, AP, Adrian Peterson, still running the ball, 16 carries, 57 yards, 2 touchdowns. Let's bring up my guy, DeAnthony Thompson. What's going on?
Hey, can you hear me? Pretty good. Can you hear me? I may have to connect to the Wi-Fi. So if it started cutting out, I'll connect to the Wi-Fi because I know sometimes it gets choppy. Everything good?
Yeah, everything good. Everything good. Good to see you.
Man, hey, a lot going on, brother. A lot going on. I haven't been on the show in a long time.
Yeah, man, a lot going on. We'll get to that to the UT talk here in a minute because I know you've been laser focused, man, dropping videos and really on point with that. So I definitely wanted to get you on for that.
Hey, I've been chasing this thing like a storm chasing a tornado, man. Because see the reason, and we're not gonna get into it now, but the reason being because that's a generational move. So you get a coach like that, who, in my opinion, is the second best coach in the last 20 or 30 years. That's tough, but whatever.
Yeah.
If you don't get it, whatever.
Right. All right, so we're talking about NFL Week 13. We had some big games. Just mentioned that the Saints and the Chiefs clinched playoff spots already. And I was just mentioning the Saints, man. With the Saints not even having Drew Brees, they're playing some of the best football without him. And to me, that's kind of shocking.
Yeah. Really, what that goes to show you is, and I've always known this, so what I'm about to say shouldn't be new to footballers. Sean Payton is amongst the best coaches in the league, easily. Yep. I know, every now and then he gets slammed. Sean Payton is one of the best, and what he's showing is he's showing that he's the best. Because you get a guy, I'm gonna be honest, Ben, I didn't believe in Hill, because one thing about Hill, I thought he was a go-go gadget guy, but to see Hill make some passes. Man, bro, Payton is a genius, and we better give him his flowers because you heard the Andy Reids and the Belichicks, who should be respected. He is amongst the best in the game, and I think this goes to show that he is riding the ship. That a couple of his guys go down, they're still going. Of course, they got some Pro Bowlers still, but I think this goes a lot to the coach.
Yeah, 100%. I agree, and I think Sean Payton is showing also that he can build up a defense, because this defense is really what's been helping them in a lot of these games. Cam Jordan, that defensive line, they got solid linebackers, they got corners.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that defense, like I say, led by Cam Jordan. And you know what? I'm glad you brought that up, Ben. It's another guy that I love. I mean, I love this guy, Lattimore.
Yeah.
That dude, somebody said, he gets beat every now and then, or he losing a step. Look, man, that guy's a baller, and he's easily probably a top 5 corner in the game. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah. I mean, they're really playing well, and Marshawn Lattimore is a great example. I think that's the kid from Ohio State.
Yeah. That kid, but he was good at Ohio State. So to be fair, he was always good. But you never know how those guys are going to transition, Ben.
Right.
And you know this. You know, that's
Yeah.
so tricky. You don't know if a guy is just a one-hit wonder or is he going to be a legit shutdown corner. But that kid raised some eyebrows at Ohio State. I remember that.
Yeah. I mean, and Ohio State, you know, traditionally the corners and the linebackers and the defense, they're normally the better, you know, better guys in the league, you know, than on the offensive side. So that's big. That's big right there. All right, let's go to some other games that we had. Big game by the Raiders, you know, and a close game with the Jets, which that really should not happen. But they end up making a bomb pass to a guy that you probably know of, Henry Ruggs from Bama. All he had to do was put the ball up in his area, and Henry Ruggs ran underneath it. Raiders end up getting the win. My question is, which I don't think my answer to this question would be no, but are the Raiders for real at 7-5?
The Raiders are what their record says they are. And what that means is they're a good team. They can make the playoff. They're a playoff team. Can they win a game? It depends on who they're going to match up against. Are they going to beat Kansas City? No. Are they going to beat, you know, that's the thing. To me, it depends on who they're going to play. They are a playoff team, though. I got to give Derek Carr a lot of respect, man. That guy's a baller. He may not be upper echelon of the quarterbacks, but he is, I don't know, 11, 12 type range, maybe. I got to give him credit. I think the Raiders are a good team. They can make the playoffs, but they're not going to make a lot of noise because they still got a lot of errors that need to be fixed as well.
Yeah, and I think they got talent, you know, and I think Derek Carr, like you said, he's probably top 10 or 12. You know, I made a top 10, you know, quarterback list, and I didn't have him in the top 10, but you could definitely say,
and you see that's why I said 11 to 12.
13, 14, something like that. Definitely something around there. Another guy, because I know you're big on college and also, you know, high school and what you cover. But Kyler Murray,
getting back into it, man. I'm getting back into it, and I'm getting back passionate. You know, I kind of took a sabbatical from sports for a while, and I'm jumping back into it, man. And you see, I didn't drop some videos, but yeah, my bad.
Yeah, I'm excited, man, at what I'm seeing. So Kyler Murray's been having a couple of down weeks. He had 173 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. But it seems like, you know, and I want to get your take on this. It seems like they're trying to force him in the pocket, or they're trying not to allow him to be mobile, which that's a huge part of his game.
Yeah. The thing with them is, and specifically Kyler, so this is a beautiful question because we had a lot of noise that was, and I told people to watch this. Kyler this and Lamar Jackson sucks. I said, don't disrespect Lamar. And I'm bringing him up because it is. His numbers are not all that either, but the NFL is hard, man. You go through these ups and downs, and one thing with Kyler is, to me, he's pressing too hard. I don't know if it's a communication or timing issue. A couple of the passes hit the ground. You know, it's not panic season, but it's something that's not quite right. And I don't know what it is. He's still a great young quarterback. He got a lot of good weapons. These are growing pains. I don't know what else to say. These are just growing pains. The same with Lamar, but I just want to interject. People gotta not put him way above Lamar because now they're getting a reality check. This game is hard. You can throw for 301 game, but that's hard to keep up in this league for different reasons. So that's kind of my take on that. He's just going through these growing pains, but he's still one of the best young quarterbacks in the game easily. Yeah.
I mean, he is fast. Like when he runs, it's almost like he's already in second gear. Sometimes for some guys, it takes him a minute to get to second gear. But as soon as he starts running, it's already like he's in the next gear, next level.
Hey, they said 4.3, man. And if that is correct, 4.3 is fast.
yeah. I'm definitely not running a 4.3. So
no, that's fast. At the quarterback, man, think about that, bro. Think about that, bro. Could we see that? Could we? And I'm not old. I'm 29, but could we have seen that 25 years ago? A quarterback running a 4.3?
No.
Wow, that's crazy.
That is crazy. That is not at quarterback, wide receiver, running back, corner. You know, maybe one of those spots, but definitely not running back.
Not the quarterback.
Let me give a quick shout out to my man Kaiser on Twitch. He was tuning in to our fantasy football show. You said he had 187 points last week. Well, that's good. Thank you for tuning in. I'm glad you won. Hopefully you may get some money in your fantasy football league. I'm all in. Another team that we got to talk about is these Eagles, which they lose to the Packers. No surprise. You can't. Yeah. They're not going to beat the Packers. But the main thing I want to talk about is Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz, and to your point also, it's starting to get harder for him. And plus, he doesn't have a good offensive line, which that's going to screw up your game in that respect. But also, he's not being able to play with the top competition. And I think that's a part of it. The organization as a whole is not. I just don't think they're coaching them well. And then you got Jalen Hurts. That's looking over his shoulder, and I think that could have an effect on that. But talk about Carson Wentz if you got an opinion on that.
The thing with this, and I got a big opinion on it. The thing with this is now, we talked about this. You might not remember about a month or two ago. I said, now I believe in Carson Wentz. I thought Carson Wentz was a good quarterback, but I'm gonna tell you what's going on, Ben. Before the season came out, there was a report, and the report said that. I don't remember it verbatim, but it said something to the fact of he was losing confidence or he's not a leader. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember that. Yep.
Yeah.
Teammates was calling him out too.
Yeah. What that says is that the person who said that was correct. They were absolutely correct because I don't know if it's mental. I don't know if it's physical, and it very well could be physical. I don't know if he's just not a good quarterback anymore, but he's one of those guys where, like we kind of said it about the Arizona offense, something doesn't seem right. And yeah, you can say the team, the line, this, that, and the other, but man, Carson Wentz doesn't. He looked like he lost something big time, and they're gonna have to make a decision, a franchise decision of what they're gonna do at quarterback.
Yeah, I agree, and I think bringing Jalen Hurts in, I don't know if they looked at this as just a gadget guy. I think they looked at this as insurance and as maybe putting a little bit of pressure on Wentz. And he played, I think he played the end of the game, the last game. So it's not as if they're totally, sold on Wentz as far as what I can see. But you got to build a team. You got to build a team around these guys, especially him. He had 79 yards. He was 6 for 15. He got sacked four times. Jalen Hurts got sacked 3 times. So neither one of them had time. But it seems like Jalen Hurts kind of lit a spark, and that's kind of what you need sometimes when it comes to NFL or college or period.
I think the position that they're in, Ben, they're in a position where they got a quarterback that they've been having, and when the franchise have a quarterback that they've had for a long time or for a while, it's along with contracts, it's a certain type of – I'm trying to get this thing in the middle. There's a certain type of we owe it to this guy. And I think we're seeing a lot of that where they're saying, he been our guy. We still trust him. But at the same time, in the back of their mind, they're saying something is broken. And what is going to happen is going to come to a position where the pressure is going to come, especially in a place like Philadelphia, where a decision is going to have to be made. Can Carson Wentz keep going, or do we shift to Jalen, or do we draft a quarterback? Because I don't know if they really believe in Jalen, but, nobody's really saying that. But that's a question going forward. Do they really even believe in him? Seriously.
Right. True. That's a good question. Because he just because you draft somebody doesn't mean that you really all in. He could have just been the best.
It could have been a project.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And what if they come? What if they? I know that they're not that good, but what if they next year you see a guy that you like? And that's a real question. What happens if you see a guy that you like? Because there's some few quarterbacks coming out. Do you draft the quarterback, or do you say, "Oh, we got her, so we better stick with him"?
Yeah, that's a great question. You got Trevor Lawrence coming out. You got Justin Fields coming out. You got the kid.
Got the kid out of what's the Bisons? North Dakota State.
I was just getting ready to say that. Trey Lance. You got him coming out. I mean, you got some quarterbacks to pick from. Another game that I'm gonna mention here is the Patriots that blow out the Chargers, and I think the Chargers. Anthony Lynn is probably on the hot seat. They've lost a lot of games this year, about 1 or 2 points. But when it comes to this league, you cannot lose games. And I think Anthony Lynn's only been there, I don't know, 2 or 3 years, if I'm not mistaken. And I'm with the logic that you got to give a guy 4 years. He's been there since 2017. So I think if you give him one more year, Justin Herbert, who's been making noise this year, could be rookie of the year. He had 2 picks this week. But the problem is when you go up against the Patriots, you got to know that Belichick is a good game plan to a T, and you will not beat him just on that simple fact. You will not beat him because he's going to game plan for you. But talk about Justin Herbert this year, man. You think he could win rookie of the year and how he's been playing, even though they've been losing? I think he's still been doing a good job.
He's a guy that came out of Oregon. And I'm going to tell you something. When I first seen him play, he threw a ball across the middle. And I said, who is this kid? He has a rocket. And later throughout the year, he kind of started struggling. And I backed off a little bit of it. I'm not going to lie, because I was like, you know what? Maybe I just seen him when he had a good game. He's kind of lost to some teams up there in Oregon where he shouldn't have lost. And, you know, it was kind of one of them things where I backed off a little bit. But what he showed me is he is the real deal. And Anthony Lynn's probably on the hot seat. He's probably on the hot seat, to be honest, man. I don't really see them keeping Anthony Lynn, to be honest. And we're going to see how that plays out. But they have their quarterback, I believe. And I remember when I came on the show, I told you, I said, once this kid starts, you're not going to hear about Tyrod. You're not going to hear about the backup anymore. Right. And that's exactly what happened.
Yeah. We haven't heard a peep, or we haven't heard anything about Tyrod Taylor since Herbert came in. So that's true, and that's the way it goes sometimes. You gotta run with the hot hand. Yeah, you gotta run with the hot hand.
Say it again, Ben.
No, I was just saying you gotta run with the hot hand.
Oh, and the thing about it though, and see, here's the thing, man. Like I just said about Hurts, you know, especially with these black quarterbacks, but you know, these teams really don't believe in these guys like that. I mean, they'll give him 1 or 2 years, and once they see, you know, he's iffy, they're really looking for the next quarterback, and that's what San Diego did. They took a chance, and they drafted the quarterback and ended up being right. You that's the really beauty of it. You gotta take a chance when it kind of looks like you don't desperately need a quarterback. That's usually when they find good quarterbacks, that second or third round. And I think to me, that's what type of talent he was. He was a guy that was good, but you didn't know. They took a chance. They did draft him pretty early, and they're getting the benefit of their draft pick.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so the last game I'm gonna get to is the Chiefs and the Broncos, which again, Patrick Mahomes, 318 yards and 1 touchdown, which is, you know, really that's not traditionally him. Traditionally, he's getting 3 to 4 touchdowns, but Travis Kelce, who's I think the best tight end in the league, all you got to do is put it in his area, and he's gonna catch it.
Oh yeah.
But the Chiefs end up clinching early. You know, they're 11-1. I think they're the best team. I'm not gonna say the Steelers are the best team. The Chiefs are the best team. They got so many weapons. It's I don't like using the word impossible, but it's impossible to stop these guys when the game's on the line. Yeah.
Well, the one thing that I love about them is, like, and let me say this: Kels, he's the best tight end in the game. I see the others out there who say they're the best. He is the best in the game, and he probably was the best in the game last year. I know there was some debates, but the thing with Kansas City is their offense is so multiple. I forgot they had Le'Veon Bell not too long ago. I'm like, what? How do they have him? So they're so deep. You're going to have to probably either outscore them or hope that Patrick Mahomes, you know, tries to do too much, because they're balling. I'm going to tell you something. I'm glad that Andy Reid is reaping the beauty of these benefits in the later his career, man. Yeah. Because he's been one of the best coaches, but he would get only so far for so many years. I'm happy that he's rolling, man. Came off a Super Bowl, and they're probably the best team. But you know, one thing about the Steelers, man, you can never count out that tough, hard-nosed Steelers type of football team. Right. So it'll be interesting to see how the playoffs go out in the AFC. Don't count out. I know they lost. I know it looks funny, but don't count out the Tennessee Titans as well.
Yeah. I think last game, and to me, the biggest thing about Tennessee is it all rides on Derrick Henry. And if Tannehill can make a play, that would be good. But Tannehill, when it's on his shoulders, he seems to be a little wobbly. So, you know, the game plan is take away Derrick Henry, which is pretty hard to do. But it looks like the Browns were able to do it last week.
Yeah, they were. and it's the Browns. I don't know. I don't really know how good they are, to be honest. But I still think that Tennessee team I think they're kind of made for the playoffs.
Yeah,
That's why I say that. I think the game slows down. 35-degree weather. That's why I say that could be a dangerous team. Yeah. And I know, but you're right. The quarterback position is a question, but the playoffs stuff kind of slows down. Where, to be honest, he may only need to make 3 to 4 big passes. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So we'll see though.
Yeah, right. Before we go any further, I want to give a real quick shout out to my man Errol Spence Jr. Not North Dallas, but South Dallas, the Soto product. He won his fight against Danny Garcia. So big shout out to him with that crazy accident. If people don't know that, go find the video. But that car literally flipped. It was on top, like where my hand is the way the car was.
Yeah.
He fell out, but I mean, thank God he survived it because that crash was crazy.
It was bad. Yep. Yeah. That's bad. God still got a purpose on this earth.
Yeah. All right, let's get to the thing. Let's get to the topic that I know you've been covering and been doing a great job at. UT. Yeah. UT. When I seen and back up a little bit of backstory, Urban Meyer retired. I'm gonna do air quotes when I say this. He retired. He went to the booth. I never thought he was truly retired. I always thought that he would come back if the right opportunity came up. When controversy comes up, he seems to run away. Unfortunately, and it's the truth. He seems to want to run away. But the UT situation is starting to heat up. Tom Herman and this team, and what UT people don't understand. They want to win championships every year. It's not about being second. It's not about being third. They want to be the best team in Texas, but unfortunately, they're just not.
Yeah. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. But I'm going to tell you something really funny. So, I grew up a Longhorn fan and during the Mac Brown era. But I'm going to tell you something that I experienced way back then and it's still happening. Texas will get to the championship game. They'll play a Colorado. I remember specifically when they played Chris Brown Colorado team. I don't know if you remember Chris Brown.
Oh, yeah, I remember.
6'3" running back. They played that team and got their butts beat. Another time they went, I think, to the Big 12 championship. I think they got beat by Nebraska. Texas haven't really been this juggernaut that we think. I just want to get that out the way. Like we look at them like, oh, that's big Texas. When you really look at the numbers, before 05, before the championship, the Vince Young era, they had not won one in like 40, almost 35, 40 years. But you wouldn't thought that. You'd have thought that was a blue blood with 3 or 4 championships. So I just want to say that that's the kind of funny thing is that perception that they're just, they've had Mac Brown did take them far, but that's funny how people look at it. It's like, when we look at the numbers, they haven't won as much as you think as far as championship. Yeah. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just gonna add into that. I actually looked it up today because I was curious just to see how many they had. They have 4. One was in 2005. The other ones was in the 60s. So it's been a minute.
Yeah. See that one, bro. That's exactly what I'm saying. And so it's the same with A&M though. So if you're an Aggie, you can't talk anyway. You can't talk too. But as far as this situation being, it's almost like where do you want to take it? Right now, I've said this. They got egg on their face, and the thing about that is, you flirting with a girl, but then you're trying to go back to your wife. Then you did all of this publicly. That's a lot. That's very embarrassing on everybody because of how you did it. But I'm gonna tell you, I think they're probably gonna stick with Tom Herman, and I don't like it in this regard. I respect Herman, and they probably gonna win some games, but this is a bad situation. Now you go on somebody's home and you try to sell that to this recruit. He's seen this embarrassing thing play out. He has Ohio at his back door. He has a Saban on his phone. He might say, man, I don't want to be a part of this. And if Texas is not careful, they're going to give Jimbo down there at Texas A&M a chance to really do a step up. And I'm kind of seeing it. I'm seeing A&M kind of make this step where they're saying, hey, who is Texas? We're ready. So, the thing with this, bro, this coaching search, like I say, it's almost where you want to go with it because they got egg on their face right now.
Yeah. And you're right. It's played out in front of everybody. Like the stories, especially on the videos that you did. Make sure to check out D'Anthony's channel as well. What give us the the channel name real quick.
I done changed the name, but I think it's DeAnthony91 and then Twitter DeAnthony91.
Okay.
So I'm really talking sports on Twitter a lot now, and I wasn't always on Twitter, so that's more so in the past 3 months. And then and the YouTube, I wasn't really talking sports, but now I'm back talking sports. So DeAnthony91, or if that's wrong, I see him being the right thing. But yeah, hit me up. Let's talk, man. I love it.
Yeah. So I'm gonna share that in the chat room so you guys can see that. Also, let me give a shout out to Courtney Harden, also Taryn Rodriguez. Thank you guys for tuning in. But yeah, the biggest thing is, you let this play out. There's article after article after article. There's stuff about Urban Meyer's wife is here. It's stories about Urban Meyer is thinking about it, but he wants kind of like what you talked about, and I want you to talk about this too. He wanted certain facilities to be upgraded, and I mean UT I think would have been a perfect spot for him if you want to take when you want to take on the next challenge. You've done the SEC, you've done the Big 12 or the Big 10. So like, why not make this next transition? Which this will put his career, I think, on the upper echelon with Saban. Especially if he was able to win one. But it seems like it's not working out. But my thing that I want to tell people is, it doesn't matter if the story says he's not coming, because there's always a way to get somebody there. If it's money, if it's facilities, if it's giving his wife whatever it is, it's not over with yet.
I like to say, Ben, you see my Twitter or no?
I didn't see it. I didn't see it today. No.
Okay, I said, I break the news. He's not coming on the YouTube page. I went on Twitter and said, like an hour or 12, I said, I still got a funny feeling about this. I know what but see, I'm gonna tell you why. Because they're saying sources said. Urban did this in Ohio. He said, I'm not coming, and he ended up going. And it's something about sources said that's like, hold on real quick. So they're probably still gonna try. But like I said, they've let this play out. Urban said it was his health though, and that's another thing, because you don't know what to believe.
That's a whole story. Yeah.
Because I've heard people say that if the Notre Dame job became open, which is his dream job, if you don't know that, that's Urban Meyer's dream job, Notre Dame.
Really?
Yeah. They say if the Notre Dame job come open, will his health mysteriously get better? I thought that was very funny. I did. And then some people said USC is the one he really wants.
Mm-hmm.
My phone is going low, Ben. Oh, you hear me, Ben?
Yeah, I can hear you. Connect your charger if you can. We'll try to. D'Anthony's gonna work out that, but we're talking UT. Urban Meyer again, year after year after year. It's kind of like the Andy Gruden, not the Andy, but the Gruden situation. Gruden always was trying to get back into coaching. Now Gruden wasn't a health situation, but Gruden was always trying to get back into coaching. His name was constantly brought up. John Gruden. It was constantly brought up every single year. Is he going to leave the booth? He was in the booth for like 7 years, and the job came about with the Las Vegas Raiders, and he took it. He was out of coaching for 10 years. So I'll say all that to say there is a possibility that Urban Meyer could take a job. There's a major possibility that he could take a job somewhere, and I 100% believe that he will if it's the right situation. It does not matter who it is, really. If it's the right situation, these guys will take it. They lie just as much as anybody else. It's just a plain and simple truth. They lie just like everybody else, just like all the other coaches do. And I think he could still go to Texas. I don't think it's over. And especially, it depends on how this season ends. It depends on how the season ends for Texas. If it ends horribly, if it ends them not going anywhere, then I guarantee you that they're going to be looking to make a major move. All right, we got you back.
I was talking so much. I was talking so much fire. My phone went dead. Yeah, I was on the road. So I know. I don't know. The show might have been in. I said, let me make for sure call back. Though my phone went dead. I had to get my charger.
Yeah, no, you good. You good. Go ahead and continue where you left off.
I don't even know where we left off. I know we were talking about Herbert, but see, here's the thing. So some say Urban wants the not like I said Notre Dame. Some say USC job. That's neither here nor there. Because if Urban doesn't want this job, some are saying Texas is going to stick with Tom Herman. This is going to be HBO, Showtime TV to see how this plays out. Because now you want to go back to this guy. I want to see, is your recruiting going to slump? And what are you going to do for Oklahoma? Because Lincoln Riley, he's building something up there in Oklahoma. They're starting to get recruits. They've always been able to recruit well. That's one thing I love about Oklahoma. They recruit way better than Texas in the sense that they'll go to Nevada, they'll come to Texas, they'll go to Louisiana, they'll go to California. Oklahoma always recruits well. They got Roy Williams out of California. They got Joe Mixon out of California. That's how they recruit. So you got this team, to me, getting even better recruits. If you're Texas, you better be careful. You're still going to be a good team because you're Texas. But my point is, are you going to consistently be under Oklahoma? Yeah. And now with the egg on your face, can you get recruits this next year? Are they going to really believe that you're going to stick with Herman for 3 years, their whole career?
Yeah, I doubt it. And I think, too, what I was saying while you were gone for a minute is that it depends on how the season ends. If this season ends horribly, where they don't go to a bowl game or they end up getting blown out, the last, season or the last game of the season, that is going to be, I think, a major kind of writing on the wall of what exactly is going to happen. And the fact that I don't believe they're ranked right now, the fact that they're not ranked is already probably burning all of these boosters, fans, former players, is probably burning them up right now. Well, they're ranked 23, so they are ranked.
Yeah. They're ranked on the back. They're ranked on the back end, but I think even with that though, Ben, it's a dangerous thought because, let's say they went out. Let's say they get a bowl game. I think the question is, what is the expectations at Texas? Is it to go 8-4? I mean, I'm not being funny. Is it to go like 9 wins? Is it to get 10? I think if you're an elite program, you need to be consistently getting 10, 11, and 12 wins a year.
Right. If
you're an elite program, you might lose 1, you might lose 2. Okay, but you should be winning that many usually. So that's my point. Is where do Texas? I know it's championship or bust, but let's get realistic. Who are the Longhorns? Are they better than Oklahoma as a program?
Yeah.
And some of these questions may be no, and we think they're yes.
That's real talk.
Yeah.
This year, they lost to OU. The Red River rivalry, the big game. Yeah. They lost. Now their last game of the year is this week against KU. So
see, you're supposed to win that. And then now you go to a bowl game and you face a I'm making this up, but a Stanford or one of the SEC teams or something.
Yeah.
And you Auburn or something, and you win convincingly. That will mean something because you being an out of conference team convincingly. Now we don't know who they had or who you have because players are transferring. But if you do that, that's a statement. But as far as just winning this last game, it's like and also I think it depends on what OU do. If OU go out there, win the Big 12, win a big bowl game, I'm telling you, Ben, Oklahoma is building something, man. They're getting a lot of recruits from the Dallas area, a lot of the top recruits, and they're surpassing Texas. So people better continue to watch for OU because they're getting better.
And to the point of OU, they're 7-2 right now. They play West Virginia and they play Iowa State the last game of the season. But that's gonna be a monster game.
Gonna be nice.
That's gonna be a nice game right there. Yeah. Now, so the biggest thing I think that's hurting Texas, and get your thoughts on this, is the recruiting. Like, I don't even think they're winning the recruiting battle in Texas, and that to me is a problem because we know, or if you don't know, football in Texas, high school football is a religion. So you got to realize that if you're not winning the battle in Texas in your own state, then you can't truly compete.
Yeah, it's this thing, to be honest, Ben, it's a two-parter. Because a part of it is recruiting, but they do have some talent and they do have pretty good recruiting classes. So I think recruiting is one thing, because they're not recruiting on the Alabama level, they're not recruiting at these top echelon, but they're recruiting good classes. I think that thing is development. That's really the real under the rate truth. Yeah. It's developing. You get some of these guys, Ben, and you're not getting those guys to the NFL. And that's what I heard while I was doing a lot of research when it says Texas stuff. You know, some of these recruits see that you ain't think about it, but Ohio State, Larry Johnson Sr. I didn't know this, man. Larry Johnson Sr., which his son played running back for Penn State. He's a defensive line coach at Ohio State. Okay, Larry Johnson, he's put like 4 or 5 studs in the NFL. Yeah. The Bosa, I mean, somebody Chase Young. So, you know, when you got a great player to say, okay, can I go to Texas? They haven't really put this player in there. Or do I go to Ohio State or go to Alabama? That becomes an easier choice. The same thing with OU, especially when it comes to wide receiver or even quarterback. You don't want a couple Heismans. When I see OU, they are top to bottom. I don't care what you say. They are a better program than Texas. So these recruits also see that. It's like, you're not getting these players to the next level. And that goes back to development, because you're getting some talent, but it's some type of disconnect. And then one thing, it seemed like sometimes at Texas, man, the good players are on the bench. Like this kid that just ran for all these yards. A lot of people was like, why is he just not playing?
True. Yeah, and that's a great point. Like if you're 18 or 19, or if you're 17 and you want to see, I want to go to the league. What is the best program I can go to the league? Bama, like you said, Ohio State. I guess if you're a running back, I mean, Miami to some degree, they're still putting guys in the league. But also, Georgia. Georgia's a big one. I think also it's the relationships that the coach has with the pros. You look at Kingsbury and you know how he ended up going to the league. But Tom Herman, does he have the relationships with pro scouts, with people, with pro people, you know, in the NFL game? Yeah. That's another question.
And see, the thing with Herman, and I think that's a great question. The thing with Herman that I've heard is he's a my way or the highway guy, hard nose, you know, as far as that bravado type of thing.
Right. That
you got to be careful with that, because now if you're gonna do that, you still gotta love your players. I'm sure he do, but you gotta win. And I've heard he run hard practices and run the players down. This is some of the stuff I heard. Now I didn't know this was about him, but you know, if you're turning, if your personality of who you are is turning away players or turning away, let's say, pro scouts or something, you may be hurting your program in another way.
Yeah, that's a really good point, because like, you gotta just, to me, you gotta think at a mind of a 17, 18, 19-year-old. You can't go into this. I mean, you can go into this like my way or the highway, but you gotta have results. Like you gotta have the results to back up, you know, whatever way you decide to coach. Now, Tom Herman's record, which I wanted to look this up, I believe was 31 and 13.
Yeah, I had looked it up. Yeah, it's something around there. It's not a bad record, but Ben, I'm telling you, brother, I go back to what I say. What is the expectations? Is the expectation to win 10 games? Is it to win 9? Is it to go 9-8 or 9-4? Like, what? I don't think it is. I think Texas should be winning 10 games. 10 games a year. I don't think that's too much to ask for.
Yeah, no. Now, his first year, they went 7-6. Second year, they went 10-4. They won in the Sugar Bowl. That was the year that they came out hot. The last year, they went 8-5. What did they go the year before? What did they go the year before 8-5? They went 10-4. So that was the 10-win season. That's 10 wins.
That is 10 wins, but then that's followed by 8 wins.
Right.
That don't look good.
Right.
You know, like I said, 10 wins a while ago, really closer to 11, because, you know, I'm assuming they won that bowl game. And see, they make it's 10 wins, but that's really almost 8. They probably won that bowl game that year, right?
Yeah. He's 3-0. He's 3-0 in bowls. So that's
he is.
Point. But I think
and he did. He beat Georgia. He beat Georgia one year.
Yeah. Yeah. Now this.
So we got to give him some credit.
We do. But again, like we've been saying, this is Texas, and it's really championship or bust. Even though you may not get the championship, it's just the flat honest truth. No team is going to win a championship every single year. Bama has been close. Clemson has been close, but
yeah,
that's two teams out of all these teams.
Now let's do something real quick because you're in front of the PC. Can you pull up OU record the last 4 years?
Yeah. Let me do that.
Because I think that'd be a beautiful contrast to see if there is a distinct difference. I believe OU's won 11 games the past 5 years. If so, that's crazy.
Yeah, and Lincoln Riley, he has gotten. I'm not gonna call it luck. I was calling it luck before, but I'm just gonna say he has swooped in on a quarterback after quarterback after quarterback. He got Spencer Rattler right now. He got Baker Mayfield. He got transfers. He had Jalen Hurts out of nowhere. I did not think at all Jalen Hurts was going to Oklahoma. So, to your point, you hit the nail on the head. They went 12-2 the past 3 years, 17, 18, and 19.
Bro.
That's crazy.
So I'm a recruit. I'm a coach. We ain't doing facilities. We're just doing some numbers. Look at how we been and look at how they been.
Right.
And then I wonder how many Big 12 championships they got too in that time span. But come on now.
Yeah. Now the weirdest thing about all of this though is they've lost every last bowl game. They lost the Rose Bowl, the Orange Bowl, and the Peach Bowl over the past 3 years. So
let me interject this, Ben. Oh, this is beautiful. This is my critique of OU. This is my critique of Lincoln Riley. As good as they are, they fall short.
Yep.
And OU have been doing that for quite a while. They're loaded, but it's like when I watch them, Ben, to me they could take a next step and they don't.
Yeah.
And that's is weird because that's been the OU program to me.
Yeah, that's true.
Lately,
you hit the nail. You really hit the nail on the head there. And they could go now. How this season went, they probably would end up going 9-2 because they got 2 games left. Or they could go 10-2, including with the bowl. But yeah, they're 7-2 right now. Also, one of their assistants. So Lincoln Riley is starting to build a coaching tree. I don't know if you heard about this. Sean Beamer is going to South Carolina to be the coach there. So he's starting to build. He's. I'm not going to say he's starting to build. He's just continuing to build off of what he already had. But he's starting to put in roots, so he can have this job really for as long as he wants.
He can, and he's kind of one of those guys that's smooth, a little Kingsbury like. That make me wonder if he's going to go to the league. Yeah. I think he probably will try his hand at the league.
I agree.
What? And then I think what's the ceiling for Oklahoma? That's another interesting thing. Are they going to be playing for championships? Man, what? I think we got to stop and appreciate what Saban has built in Alabama.
That's real.
That is remarkable. You got Dabo. You got to give Dabo, Swinney, and Clemson credit because they're really next in line. But bro, Alabama, it feels like every year they're playing for a championship.
Yeah.
How do you do that in the SEC?
He gets number one top talent every single year. He don't even have to go. All he got to do is send him a text like I want you, and they already in. Like that. That's the greatness of Saban. Like he doesn't have to do any work. His record alone speaks for itself. If you don't come to Bama, it's just because you didn't want to.
Yeah, bro. Think about this, Ben. Somebody, I think it was Judy in the NFL said, "Is Alabama wide receiver university?" And I kind of was like, "Oh, whatever." And then I started thinking about it. It is a lot of lately. It is a lot of receivers that came out of Alabama. Yeah. Y'all better go back and look at it. I'm talking about a lot. So it's kind of like they're at a point where they're on automatic, and they're turning into wide receiver university.
Yeah,
I mean, who would have seen that coming? Man?
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna try to find something right now, see if I can pull it up. But when you talk about
we can go. Man, I'm talking at least about 6 or 7 guys, and I'm counting the guys that they got now because they're going to be first rounders. Let's not kid ourselves. Devontae Smith, Devontae and the other young gentleman coming off an injury, Waddle, but I mean, those are first round talents.
I mean, there's so many. Amari Cooper, Julio, Calvin Ridley.
Yeah.
I mean, year after year after year, they're putting guys in the league, and these are top talent. So as we're talking college football, we got to touch on this. Michigan head coach Jim Harbaugh, which people were saying, well, he signed a lifetime contract. I said that does not mean anything. If you can't beat Ohio State year after year after year, and they're having a horrible year right now, and there's already stuff leaking out to saying he wants to go back to the NFL, I think this is his last year.
It's a very good chance that it is. And I'm going to tell you why, Ben. They have reports coming out that some of the former players are not happy with him. Whenever stuff gets that bad, where publicly you're being opposed to either by administration and or which really go back to the Tom Herman thing. You openly saying you mad at the coach, but that's a whole nother story. Yeah. But the same thing with this. So he's had the support of the administration, but if you don't win and then the former players are mad at you, it's only going to be so long before you get fired.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because you don't have that genuine support of the alumni. You need that support. If the old players, and they said that, and I wonder who, because I'm wondering, do you mean a Charles Woodson, or do you mean one of the guys that came out of there recently? Right. I wish they would have said, but an article just came out that the players were mad at Harbaugh, and when I read that, I said he's in trouble, because it's one thing, the administration can kind of go back and forth, but when you have that alumni base, that alumni, that NFL guys mad at you, it's like, what's going on? And I think that's a deeper question. What's going on with Harbaugh?
Yeah.
I've heard, some stories about him going to a recruit's house and sleeping in the rooms, and he's an interesting guy. Seriously, you go look that up.
He's a weird guy. No doubt about that. He's a weird guy. So
I wish I had the desktop in front of me, man. The dude was slept on a porch or something. That's a real story, man. So I would have said, come on, dog.
He is right now. I don't know if I can find this stat, but if I'm not mistaken, he has not beat Ohio State once. Am I right?
Bro, he has been bad, and he's lost to Penn State how many times? I know at least once.
Once, yeah. So
and that's a whole nother topic with James Franklin at Penn State too.
Yeah.
But because we didn't talk about Texas. The coaching, some of the coaches. I don't know if we got a few minutes to hit on that, or you want to come back to it. But I had a few thoughts on that.
Yeah. So real quick on Harbaugh, he went 10-3, 10-3, 8-5, 10-3, 9-4. They're 2-4 right now. They basically have to win out to make anything of this season. But he's lost 5 bowl games. He's lost 4 of the last 5 bowl games. So
let me ask you.
To me, 2 things: you can't beat Ohio State, and you can't win bowl games. Both of those, to me, that's a wrap for you.
And I throw one more in there. You can't beat Ohio State, you can't win the Big Ten, and then you can't win the bowl game. And that's their biggest problem. And well, really, to be honest, another problem is it's not that they just can't beat Ohio State. They look like they're so far behind Ohio State. And I know they're probably not. I don't know if they are or not, but as far as talent, it's like Ohio State has all these good receivers, a really good quarterback, a good defensive line, a good linebacker, and they're always producing first-round corners. And then you look at Michigan, it's like, man, how many studs done came out of Michigan in the last 5 years? So they lost so much footing to Ohio State. They're gonna have to, if they fire their coach, I wonder where do they go. I would love for a guy like Matt Campbell to go up there. I would love it. I would love it.
That would be nice. He's the way he's been winning at Iowa State, to me, he's got to be one of the most underrated coaches. Just the fact that you're winning like this, at this type of program, people aren't talking about him enough. They're 8-2 this year, and he hasn't been absolutely great, but again, this is Iowa State. But he wins big games every single year. He wins upsets, but now it's not even an upset. But let's get to your. We do got about 10 minutes. Let's get to your candidates. You got some Texas candidates.
Yeah. And see, and this actually goes good with what you said about Campbell. He's a guy that now, if I'm an AD at Texas or something, now I'm not looking at him for this reason. He's a good coach, but his track record doesn't really it doesn't really wow me, even though he's at Iowa State. So you have to take that in consideration. So, but I think Michigan, it's I think that's enough. Some of these guys, it's like, yeah, but you don't really know how good they are. But back to the UT thing, I think the first coach is Dan Mullen. Dan Mullen is the coach at Florida. For you all who don't know, he was also the coach at Mississippi State with Dak Prescott. Right. When the Mississippi State team was at one point, if I'm not mistaken, ranked number 1 in the country. Mississippi State. Yeah, so he's a coach that I was high on him in Mississippi Sate. And then to me, he had some down years, but I guess if you lose your number 1 quarterback, that's expected. He's also put guys in the league from down there. But when I looked it up, his last three seasons, 10-3, 11-2, and I think now they're 7-1. So with a Heisman candidate at quarterback. And when I watched a little film on them, I said, he's a guy that he runs a beautiful offense, man. He utilizes the tight end. He spreads it out a little bit. He don't run a lot, but I don't know if it's because they don't got a running back or what. But he's spread. I love that spread offense. So he's a guy. He makes about, I think, $2 or $3 million, which he's going to get a raise, but Texas could easily pay him $10 million.
Oh yeah,
easily by his buyout. I mean, he would be a lot cheaper than Urban Meyer. A lot of people say, why would you go from Texas to Florida? But money talks.
Right.
Another choice, just go down these real quick. Eric Bieniemy. That is the Kansas City Chiefs offensive coordinator. A lot of people say, well, they're not going to hire a black candidate. I've been told that. And I'm like, well, that's a possibility, and that's true. But he's a guy that has won a championship. He's a guy that has coached the MVP quarterback, and he's also been endorsed by that MVP quarterback. And I think that means a lot. I don't know if a lot of people say that, but to have Mahomes come out and say, I think this guy's going to be a good coach. I don't remember his reasons, but X, Y, and Z. That means he knows that you have the capabilities, and I like that. The couple 3, Joe Brady, LSU. He was the guy that was at LSU that kind of ran spread. He's at Carolina right now as their assistant. James Franklin, maybe. I've heard Mike Gundy, heck no. And another coach that I will back the truck up for is Robert Saleh at the 49ers, but I know they're probably not going to do that.
Yeah. Now look, you kind of touched on it. This is UT. Money is not an issue. Like whatever that person needs is really not an issue. So if they could get Eric Bieniemy, that would be great. Now the only thing I would say is his alma mater, which I believe was Colorado, reached out to him and he turned them down. So I don't know.
Now, Ben, let me stop you now. And that's so funny. Colorado. You said Colorado, right?
Right.
And then we talking about Texas, right?
Right.
That's like somebody saying we offering you $100,000 house versus somebody saying we got 50 acres and about $12 million property. So he only Texas can pay him probably that NFL salary, and that's honestly real. And that's kind of funny, you kind of look at it like that. But not a lot of people probably can afford him in a sense. And then maybe he wants a pro job, but he's a guy I would say I'm willing to pay you quite a bit because you want a ring.
Yeah, and Robert Saleh too. That would be a great pickup. He's defensive minded. He probably just got a higher offensive coordinator. But to the point with Mullen, Kyle Trask is possibly on track to win the Heisman. And when's the last time a Florida player, quarterback or whatever, was in a conversation for the Heisman? I can't. Maybe Tebow was probably the last one.
Yeah, and see, and what I really like about that though too, brother, is when you look back, he has a track record. Let me throw out another guy. Brian Kelly. Brian Kelly, the head coach for Notre Dame. I didn't realize Brian Kelly been pretty solid at Notre Dame. Now, when I look back, he's won 10 and 11 for quite a few years. So I'm not always impressed with his offense, but he is a guy that to me, he's mature enough to get a program where it should be. So he's another guy, Kelly, that they've mentioned. But I think Mullen, man, when you go back and look at, he's won 10 games plus these past 3 years, plus Mississippi State tenure. He's kind of proven that he's a good coach, and you want somebody proven at this point. I think at a Texas job. Yeah,
you do. I think they've gone with guys that were on the up and up, but not necessarily guys that have been at top programs. Tom Herman coached at Houston. Houston and Texas is not on the same level. Charlie Strong, I love him, but I don't think he really had a top job. They went on potential.
He was at Louis. He was at Louisville, and Louisville, the head coach at Louisville, to me, this is me speaking, that's not a better program than Mississippi State. Even if they look like they won more, I'm talking about from a SEC recruiting in the SEC. That's still a SEC job, and then of course him being at Florida now, it's like he's winning in the SEC. So that's another thing. None of those guys, they've been not head coaches in big conferences. But not only that, but the guy that we're looking at has been the head coach in the biggest conference.
Right, true. So we'll see what happens. I mean, this Texas story is not over with. I don't think the Urban Meyer thing is over with. When we talked about Brian Kelly, the thing with him is his first win against a top 3 team was this year, and that was Clemson without Trevor Lawrence. So my thing with Brian Kelly, and I think the whole thing with Notre Dame is, which we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, is that can they win the big game? Right now they're 10-0, so they're clearly showing that that they're one of the best teams in the nation. But can you win on the biggest stage? And I think that's what's really been the biggest problems for them is not the regular season, but it's winning on those big games, and that's what we're gonna find out this season as well with them.
But now I agree with that. I really do agree with that. The thing that I will say about Brian Kelly, and I've been very, like I say, he's ran some vanilla offenses. Now he loves to use tight end. He's got a lot of them to the NFL. But I'll say this: he's gotten some players to the next level. But remember this about Brian Kelly, and I think this is a good point. Notre Dame is an academic school. To be winning at an academic school in Indiana, they're a big brand, but to be recruiting up there, you got to remember that. So what does a guy like that do at Florida? What does a guy like that do at Texas? Yeah,
good point. All right, the last question I'm gonna bring us to. We're looking at the top 4 right now. I think, do we have the college football rankings? I don't think come out until tomorrow. From not mistaken.
They didn't come out yesterday? They used to do on Sunday night, I thought.
I know as of right now, it's Alabama, which is probably going to stay the same. Alabama, Notre Dame, Clemson, Ohio State. Kind of the outside looking in, I want to mention a couple of teams you think they could possibly jump in there. Number 1, Cincinnati. Number 2, BYU. Number 3, Coastal Carolina. I'm probably going to stop there. And Coastal Carolina is undefeated. They've been beating everybody in front of them, but this is Coastal Carolina. I don't know if they're going to give any of those teams a shot. You see any of those teams possibly creeping into there?
Coastal Carolina, no way, no how. And I don't mean that to be disrespectful. I don't even know when last time I've seen a program come from. Their uniforms kind of remind me like XFL. I'm like, man, this is wow. Like they got the turquoise field. They're different. They got a lot of stuff going on. There are up and coming team, but they have no chance to get in. BYU lost to them, so of course that's a no. And then Cincinnati with Luke Fickell, that's a no. And the only reason that is because now I have to go back and look at the Cincinnati record, but they haven't played. When you're at those small tier teams, then you got to make sure your talent, your strength of schedule is legitimate. So when the committee watch you, and even as fans, when we watch you, we say that's a team that done beat some good teams. I remember Louisville had a team a few years ago. I think that when Lamar Jackson and they were good, that team actually beat. They beat some top teams that year. I think Florida State was ranked that year, something like that. And so if you need to be playing some good teams if you're one of these lower level teams like a Louisville, like a Cincinnati. So I don't think they're going to get in either. I think that, but that upper echelon of that top is going to be very interesting, man, because you got Ohio State, it's going to be interesting to see how the committee pick if you got these one-loss teams.
Right. So here's the and I'm surprised to actually see this, but Notre Dame and Clemson are going to play on the 19th. So they're playing twice this year. I don't know. But they're only playing conference games. I think it's probably the reason why. But
Okay.
That's number 2 and number 3 on the 19th. That's going to be a huge decider of how this whole thing goes.
So that should allow. Will that allow a team to enter the playoffs if one of those lose, or is that the championship game?
I think that's just a regular season game. well, based on what I'm looking at, let me go to the full. Let me go to the full.
That could be a championship game, Ben, because Texas. I'm not Texas, but Oklahoma playing Iowa State. That's going to be the championship game.
So on the 19th, that you may be right. That may be the championship game because that would make sense to do it that way.
And I'm gonna tell you something. I'm going on record right now. Clemson will win that game. Clemson will beat them with a healthy Trevor Lawrence. And to your point, what you said earlier about Brian Kelly losing some of these games, he has. He's had a little of that Oklahoma where he's a lot of show, but done lost some big games. So but I don't think they're not gonna beat Clemson. You're crazy if you think Trevor Lawrence not going out a winner in this game at least.
Definitely.
He ain't in there on a collision. Whew, that just made me think of him and Alabama. Those two programs are on a collision course.
Yeah, every single year, they're on a crash course to meet each other. But thank you everyone for tuning in tonight, man. DeAnthony, thank you for coming through. This is the new time of the show, so we'll be back next week at 9. So if you're free, you can definitely come on. I'm gonna see.
I enjoyed this. Yeah, we don't win an hour and 30, man. That's how I know we don't win long. We don't win in it. Hey, good stuff though. Send me that link. I want to post it on my Twitter. And hey man, let's see what happens this week. There's so much news, so much stuff coming. You got the NBA coming out. You got a guy on Instagram saying Kevin Durant is the best player in the game. No, he's not. We still have to run. This is a lot of stuff going on right now. So man.
It's a lot to talk about. But thank you everyone for tuning in. Make sure to like and subscribe if you're on YouTube. Also, real quick, while I'm talking, let me get your YouTube. I'm gonna look it up here right now so I can put that in the.
Yeah, I changed it. It's either I am DeAnthony 91 or DeAnthony 91. I think it's DeAnthony 91.
DeAnthony's dropping some great content.
And I'm still learning about this stuff, guys. I'm still, I need to get a computer. I need to get a mic. So this is just real raw right now. You see me in my raw form, to be honest. Yeah,
but I mean the stuff that you're dropping though is vital, especially to what's going on with this with this UT situation. So I'm gonna drop that in right now so people got access to that. But thank you everyone for tuning in. We'll be back next week, same time, 9 p.m. Central, 7 Pacific time, 10 Eastern, and we will bring you another dope show. So you guys have a great one. God bless. Peace.